Okay, so what I was just saying is that we have the brainstem, which is the oldest part and controls the involuntary parts of our behavior. And on the outside, you have the cortex, okay, which is basically the outer 3 millimeters. Now, and in the middle, you have something called the limbic cortex, which interacts between the most recent evolved things and the deeper things. They interact. Now, for example, the cortex on the side is called the temporal cortex. The temporal cortex, all right, it's called the temporal cortex because the Greeks named it that because it's the first part of your hair that goes white. So it shows time, temporal. Interesting, right? So it shows time. But what it controls is your listening. So it processes auditory information from your ears, it goes to your temporal cortex, and also in the front it controls your smell. Now, visual information goes in through your eyes, but where in the brain is it processed, do you think? The front?
Cerebellum.
The cerebellum is the name for the whole, it's outside of the brain. The cerebellum, it's not the cerebellum, cerebellum controls balance. It's right at the back. Posture, it actually does lots of computations, but posture is one of them. It does lots of things. But it's a simplification. It looks like broccoli. It's not very tasty. But actually, visual information goes to the back of your brain, called the visual cortex, right here, or the occipital lobe. Okay? And that processes visual. It's strange, I don't know why, but when we evolve, the eyes take this visual information, it crosses, and then goes to the back of the brain. Now, to move, the part of the cortex, the outer bark, which helps us move, is the motor cortex. Are any of you wearing a headband? No. So if you pretend you're wearing a headband, okay, side ear to ear, this is the motor cortex. And the motor cortex is the part of the brain that tells you to move your hand. So if I zipped over here, the left hemisphere, my right hand will move. And the right hemisphere, the
left hand will move.
Exactly. So that's the motor cortex. And the last one I'm going to tell you about is the frontal cortex. Now the frontal cortex is in some way the most interesting because this is the part of the brain that controls the rest of the brain. It's kind of the command center. This is the part of the brain that tells you when to do something, but more importantly, when not to do something. So this is the part of the brain that actually controls impulses and tells you, no, I'm not going to hit my brother because he's annoying. Okay, it's controlling that part, and it's controlling all the other parts of the brain. Alright, does that make sense? Yeah?
Yeah.
Alright, so you've got the frontal cortex, you've got the helps you move, motor cortex. At the back, what does it let you do? It lets you the visual cortex, and then on the sides, temporal cortex, which helps you hear and smell. Okay, excellent.